I matter. God created me to be who I am. Oh, I'm black and I matter. Yes, I'm black and I matter. God created me to be who I am. It doesn't matter how you view me. God created me for who I am. It doesn't matter what you say about me. I'm happy with who I am. It's not about color. It's not about race.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, Christians and friends. We thank and praise God for this, another glorious privilege to come to your homes while you're riding along in your automobiles, your various places of business, every hospital ward, the boys and girls behind prison walls. To bring you Ramon Perry, and according to your faith, the gospel show emanating live and direct from the studios of WVTC, streaming live from Alsip, Illinois. We're so glad to be with you, and we trust and pray that this hour or so with Jesus would give you strength to go forward in faith. I'm glad to be back with you today. Got an exciting show. I've got somebody everybody needs to know, and I'm going to present to some and introduce to others. He is a son of Chicago. We're going to say it just like that. He is a son of Chicago, now living in Houston, Texas. Is that right?
Arlington.
Okay, Arlington, Texas. Yes, none other than Darwin G. Jackson. Darwin, say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody. And Ramon, thank you, sir, for having me on to be a part of your show. You are so generous with your platforms. I watched a couple of your other shows, and I appreciate all that you do and who you are. Thank you, sir.
Oh, man, it's an honor and a privilege to pay homage to those who have left Chicago, but their roots are here and they're going on to do great things. And I'm so glad to have you, Darwin. Tell us a little bit about your musical background. Tell us where you're from and how you got started in music.
All right, I start backwards. Apparently, my parents saw something in me that let them know or figure that I really would like music. And so what they did, they surrounded me with music. Mm-hmm. I don't remember, but I see pictures of me as a baby with maracas, with some little bongos, everything around me all the time. So they put that in front of me, and so from there, I guess some type of interest arose, and I got involved with music. They always have instruments around me, and when I was in fourth grade, that was when the schools allow you to take band.
Okay, so, right.
So my mom took me to the presentation of the instruments. And at the time, I wanted to play drums. I was like, I want to play drums. I saw drums on TV, these drum sets. And they came out and they demonstrated all the instruments. And when it was time for the drum, they came out with the snare drum. And I'm looking, I didn't understand that then. I said, that's not drums? What's that? You know? And so instantly I lost interest in drums. And so my mom asked me, what did I want to do? Now, so Chicago people would know this. When I say this story here, they don't know nothing about it. I used to watch Bozo Circus all the time. And remember back in the day, Bozo Circus had a big band, horns and everything. I didn't know what the instruments were, but I knew about this shiny thing with a whole bunch of buttons. So I told my mom, I said, I want to play that shiny thing with all the buttons. She said, what are you talking about? I said, I don't know. When they showed, I said, that's it right there, a saxophone. And so they bought me a saxophone. They didn't rent it. They bought me a saxophone. And that started that journey. Now, mind you, I grew up in church. I grew up at King of Glory Tabernacle Church of God in Christ. I love that place. I love the memory of that place. I love my former pastor, the late Bishop Shepard Little. And I can talk about that your whole show. But I grew up there. So I started bringing my saxophone to church. And as you can imagine, back then, saxophones wasn't really welcome in the Pentecostal church too much, you know.
It
So
was too contemporary, too worldly,
it's kind of
right?
worldly, you know,
Yeah,
it's a little worldly. And not to mention I wasn't that good anyhow, but I still would bring it. And I would try to play and all that kind of stuff, but I would play at home all the time. And then eventually I had an interest in bass guitar. And to make the story short, my parents ended up buying me a bass guitar. I think I was 12 years old. 13. I was 13 years old when they bought me my first bass guitar for my birthday. And that started me on that journey. So I started bringing the bass to church. And so I played saxophone in school, but I played bass at church. And that kind of developed and evolved. And I was around great people in my local church. Now, growing up, you know, again, I grew up in Church of God in Christ, so guitars were very prevalent back then.
They were okay. Guitars were okay.
Yeah, exactly. But then we played no distortion, though. They couldn't do that.
That's too much.
No distortion. But we had a couple of deacons that played, and I used to just watch them. I was so enamored by them. And then our pastor's brother, his name was Brother R.C. Little. He played the steel guitar. And back then, we called it Hawaiian guitar. I didn't know what a steel guitar was, but we said, "Oh, it's a Hawaiian guitar." He played that, and we churched, and we had a good time. And so I just loved music. I remember sitting by my mom in church, and I kept hearing the sound. I said, "Mom, what's that?" She said, "What you mean?" And every time I would hear, I said, "That." She said, "What's that?" She finally figured out it was the organ. I didn't know what an organ was, but I kept hearing the sound, you know. And she pointed to me what an organ was. I watched him. Every time he hit, I heard the sound. Oh, it's an organ. So that's where my music roots kind of came from. I'm a church boy to my bones, and I thank God for the gift that He gave me. So He gave me a gift, and that gift became developed, you know, over the years through schooling and through church. And along the way, I picked up keys. My parents bought me an organ, you know, and I picked up keys along the way. People would show me things here and there. And I took a love for it. Every rehearsal from a teenager for years.
Okay.
I had tape recorders. I brought tape recorders to every rehearsal. So I learned parts. Through those tapes because I would listen to tapes over and over and over and over again. So I learned how to teach parts like that. My first minister of music was Cynthia Nunn, Dr. Cynthia Nunn. A lot of people know her. And so I would listen. I had tapes and tapes of her teaching the choir. I listened to that stuff so much that by the time the next rehearsal came, if I was given a chance, I could have taught it. But you know, I was young, so that wasn't going to happen. And so another person that people may know, Pastor Kenneth Lockhart, he was one of our directors, and so he was really active in teaching. So I was around all of that. And my brother, Deacon Edward Showers, he was there at the church. I remember when Deacon Showers only played the tambourine. But so that's kind of how that happened, and you know, just from being around other people, and I just fell in love with it, and so as a lot of young musicians that have talent, you spend a lot of time doing it. You just play. You practice. I would go to random rehearsals. I grew up in Maywood, so sometime I would drive down the west side. The west side had some storefront churches, and they had the door open. So if I'm driving down and I would hear the music, sometimes I just go in there. I just go in there, see what's going on. Because I liked it. I love church and I love music. And so that's kind of how that all developed.
Let me stop you right there. I want to acknowledge a few people, but I'm getting ready to put you on blast just a little bit. Walter Howard, one of Chicago's finest singers, is sharing with us today. Thank you, Walter. I appreciate you. I need to get you on in the next couple of weeks if I can, Brother Walter. Sister Trusting Him, that's Trisha. God bless you. My brother down in Georgia, Norman Allen Walton. God bless you. Love you. Denny Yancey, thank you for sharing with me. I want you all to like and share this musical spiritual experience today. We've got the one and only Darwin Jackson, who now lives down in Texas. He's a son of Chicago, doing great things there. He's an awesome composer, musician, and arranger. And we wanted to talk about some things that he has done and what he's doing now. Brother Franklin Morris, CEO of WVTC, thank you for sharing with me today. I appreciate you. So you said something about Bozo Circus. I don't remember that. I wasn't born then. How old are you?
Hey, I'll let
I
you have
heard
it.
people talk about it, but I ain't never seen it. You know,
I'll let you have it because you probably under 40, and for those of you under 40 would not know because you look like you're about 38.
38. You give me 38.
I give you
Add
38.
20. Add 20 years onto that, and we can talk. This year I'll be 58.
I mean, you're looking good, brother. That's what that means.
So let's go back. So
Okay.
you said that you were listening to Cynthia Dunn and you watched how she talked, because I'm always interested to see how others started to retain parts, remember them, and learn how to teach. I'm always, because everybody got it, but some of us got it a different way. And you said you didn't leave without going with a tape recorder.
Right.
Didn't we all do that? Those of us that were musically inclined, I wasn't going to a broadcast or a musical without a tape recorder. Right? Isn't that what we did?
Yes, sir. Now they're using cell phones and recording it.
Yeah. Oh, yes. It's simple now. You know, I mean, I know Walter Howard probably did the same thing. You know, coming up, the churches that we went to, we were blessed here in, Maywood, Chicago, the adjoining areas, to have so much good talent. It was a lot to grab from. And so my question to you is, when did you know that you wanted to be more involved in music? What was the catalyst for it? When did you start playing? And when did you start working with the music ministry, and where was it at?
Well, I guess as with anyone, there was a progression. As I said, I started playing bass at church. So I was primarily playing bass at church. And so what got me more involved with playing saxophone at church was in my high school, Proviso Weiss High School, class of 85. Yeah. I won the talent show my senior year. And I played the saxophone and I played Jesus, He's My King. And when the word got back out to the church that I won a high school talent show playing a gospel song, well, that was a big deal. So they wanted to come play it at church, And so from there, I would play saxophone every now and then. So you can't do both at the same time. So people would call me to play for this, people would call me to play for that. And I had uncles who were pastors and things. So I would get invitations to churches to play saxophone. And that kind of took off as a thing. So I had quite a few engagements playing saxophone. Mm-hmm. And then because I played bass in the church, and we were connected to the Church of God in Christ, which consists of a local church and a district and the jurisdiction, that put me in community with other churches and other people. And then someone said, I'm having a musical. Will you come play bass? So I became, sometimes the house bass player for different things. And that just got me more involved and more noticed, I guess. And that just continued and continued. Then I started writing at home, and nobody knew it, but I was writing. And, and to me it was good, but probably wasn't. But my sister would help me with stuff. I said, sing this. And she would sing it and what have you. And then I would let my mother, my father hear it. And my parents, I can't praise them enough. They were always very, very encouraging. I never knew that I hit wrong notes. I didn't know that because my parents never told me that. They just encouraged me, and that really helped. And it wasn't until later on, much later on in life, that I decided to start trying to record my own music for myself. Mm-hmm. I did some things. I think maybe my first, my first recording, I'm not sure what it was, but you're familiar with Tanya Ray. I produced her first CD.
So, okay. So you produced someone first. Okay.
Yeah. I produced her first CD, and I wrote a few songs, arranged a lot of the songs, and assembled most of the band. And that came out really nice. It was good. It was fun. But what that did for me was gave me a whole lot of confidence, because it let me know that the stuff I heard in my head really, really worked. Because at my local church, we had a lot of talented people. And so I was already playing bass. I was already playing saxophone. So when it came to teaching stuff or, the choir and things, there wasn't a lot of room for me. Cynthia, and I'm going to be kind of casual because I'm casual with her.
I get it. You go back. I get it.
he would give me an opportunity every now and then to present a song. Normally it's like a musical, something like that. And I would present it, and the choir always had a hard time learning my stuff. And I thought it was me, but later on in life, I learned that it wasn't me. So I started doing more stuff outside of my church than I did at my church, as far as choral stuff went. And I had all this stuff in my head. So when I did Tanya's project, the singers, for some reason, they really believed in me, and they just did what I told them to do. They didn't question what I told them to do. They just did it. And it gave me life. And from there, I started doing other things, and I got a chance to write on First Jurisdiction about two of their recordings, maybe two for sure. I did two of theirs, the first one and the second one, I think it was. And somewhere in there, I decided to do my own project, because everyone always told me, man, that I'll go play somewhere. Boy, you ever decide to do something, I'm going to support you. If you ever decide to be cool, I'm going to support you. So when the Lord laid impressed upon my heart to do more in ministry, I really felt that's what he wanted me to do. Now, mind you, I'm not a singer. And at the time I made my first CD, I had never led a song in church. I had never sang a solo in church. So it was kind of bold for me to make a singing CD and me not ever being a singer, but I had songs that I wrote. And so I was able to assemble a group of people that were friends that were able to and willing to help me out with that. And some musicians that I know became my band members, good friends of mine, because I didn't have much of a budget. But those people who said that they wanted to help me, I went to those people and I told them what I was doing. And one person gave me $100, someone $200. I think somebody may have.
They believed in you.
Yeah, they did. Mm-hmm. They did. Family and some friends, and that really helped me. That really helped me, along with the money I was putting into it. And I was able to do that first CD. It's called Bless the Name of Jesus. And features Kim Stratton is on there. It features Tanya is on there. Tanya Ray is on there. And a few other people. I put some wedding songs because I had songs.
You had songs, and
I tried to do everything.
A variety. I get it. 3
wedding songs. I put 3 wedding songs on there. Did some praise and worship. I did an instrumental thing with me on saxophone. I did like a jazz thing. It was really a mutt CD, but it was good.
So speaking of love, you've got a new single out. Tell us about that.
Yes, sir. Real Love. It's being released as we speak now. A song I wrote quite some time ago, and I just didn't do anything with it for a long time. And right before I got ready to move here in 2014, a good friend of mine told me, well, Darwin, you can't leave without either doing a concert or doing a single or something. And I thought, that's a good idea to do a single. So in 2014, I got with Curtis Lindsay, and I asked him to help me out. And Curtis really opened my mind up to recording, because I was old school. And he opened my mind up, and I tried stuff that I never would have tried if he had not done that. Like bring singers to the session without rehearsing, the band coming without rehearsing. I was like, really? But it worked out really great. And he helped me with producing it and with arranging some of the music. He was the engineer throughout the whole thing. Big help to me. And in 2014, we went in the studio and we recorded the bass, drums, and keys. And then we set up another session with singers, brought singers in, recorded the singers. And then from there, thank God for technology, we were able to hire different ones to add to it, to the CD, guitar and live horns and synth and organ and all that kind of stuff. I played bass on it. Clemens Poindexter played drums. It was I and Curtis in the studio for that session. And that's how the
background.
So what
background vocals?
My wife, Tracy Jackson, my daughter, Tamara Jackson, Angel Feaster, that's Philip Feaster's wife. She was part of that. One of my cousins, Christopher Hodges, he was on that. Joseph Johnson, his name, great singer. Joseph Johnson, great singer, songwriter. God got something. Anyway, Jennifer Reeves and Marilyn Hearn. Yeah, that was it.
Okay. Well, we've got it cranked up now. I want you to go ahead and introduce your new single, To our listening audience on Facebook, WVTC. We're on Twitter and Twitch. I want you to go ahead and introduce your single, and we're going to go ahead and play it.
All right. This is Darwin G. Jackson, and this is my new single, Real Love, song about the love of God that's incomparable.
Yo, let's talk about love.
Everybody wants to fall in love and have someone to hold them. Everybody's looking for someone to be there to console them. Everybody wants to have someone to make them feel better. I know what you need, so listen, please.
Listen, brothers.
I know it really seemed like she was in your corner. You thought she was the one you really, really loved her. She loved and they got married. They broken and soaking in pain.
Ladies, listen.
Looking for security in all the wrong places. Looking for anything to fill those empty spaces.
Yeah.
All you need to do is give a love a try.
He's a good lover.
He's a lover that always satisfies.
Woo, hey.
I'm here to let you know that Jesus is the answer.
Yes, he is. He'll mend your broken heart. And no matter what you've done, hey, his love is priceless. Just give him your life. Woo, hey.
You'll see the change, never the same again. Even though he knows everything there is to know about you.
He still loves you and accepts you just the way you are.
His love is unconditional, just for you.
All your secrets, all those things you can't talk about.
Even though he knows everything you ever done.
You don't have to be ashamed. He still accepts you. He still loves you, baby.
Unconditional, incredible, and just for
Come on, let's tell him.
you.
He loves you. Hey.
I know that he does.
His arms are wide open, ready to accept you and embrace you. He really loves you. You belong to God. You his handiwork. Hey. He loves you with no strings attached. He just loves you. Yes, he does.
Just love and love ya. Just love and love ya. Just love and love ya. He'll turn your life around. Just love and love ya.
You are accepted.
Just love and love ya.
You are more than enough. God loves you just the way you are. He loves you. He loves you. Yeah.
Oh, you love you.
Yes, he does.
He knows just what you need.
You belong to God. I said you belong to God.
He loves you. He loves you.
No matter what you've been through in your life, God's hand is on you. He loves you. Yes, he does.
Hey, you heard it right here with Ramon Perry and According to Your Faith, Real Love by Darwin G. Jackson. Real Love. Now, how can we secure that song, Darwin?
Well, it's in process now and will be on all digital outlets probably within a week or so. I expected it before. I was trying to get it out before Valentine's Day, but we had a little snag. But hopefully by the end of next week, it'll be available. And I'm going to make a whole lot of noise and let everybody know they can purchase that CD and that single. I got to get used to singles.
Hey, I'm privileged that is this the first platform it's been on?
This is the first platform that I've been on with it. A couple people have, no, just this morning, I did a phone interview with Bishop Al Reese this morning for his show. And but this is the first camera shot with it anyway.
Okay.
And so I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, sir.
So when do you anticipate this release date again?
Hopefully by the end of next week.
By the end of okay, so it's coming. It's immediate. It's straight way.
Oh yeah, Everything has been submitted, and I got the notification that it was finalized. It was just one minor thing that needed to be addressed, and so it's ready now.
Let me ask you, Darwin, who were some of those that inspired you musically from a vocal standpoint and maybe from instrumental standpoint? Who are some of the people that may have inspired you?
Man, again, I go back to my church. Oh God, Brother RC that I mentioned to you would play the Hawaiian guitar. You folk would never know him, but this man took out time with me. He would teach me how to play it. People like that. Deacon Paul Hollyfield, our church, the head of our deacon board, playing guitar. Those people are people that impacted me directly, directly. Indirectly, I'm a saxophone player in the church, so Dr. Bernard Johnson.
Okay.
He was the man, period. Anybody who played saxophone in the church back in the 80s, you mimicked Bernard Johnson because he was just the man, so he was influential with that. My all-time favorite writer in the whole wide world is Andre Crouch. I love Andre Crouch's writing and just his vocal arrangements and everything he did. I love Andre Crouch. And of course, like I mentioned Cynthia Nunn and the others. I have friends who are great musicians and great songwriters. Pastor Robert Davis from Aurora, Elder Carl Cole from Rockford, Illinois. So it's a lot of people that influenced me that I was comrades with, had camaraderie with. But as far as people outside of my circle, I would say probably Andre Crouch the most.
Andre Crouch?
Yes.
Okay. Hey, you can't get any better than that. That's literally the top of the line. Let me ask you something. I'm getting ready to be a little invasive here. Is there a different vibe in Texas in terms of gospel music and church than it is in Chicago?
Well, first of all, there's no place like Chicago. There's no place like Chicago.
I just had to hear it.
and there are many things about the music scene I definitely mix about Chicago. Chicago has so much talent. You can walk at almost anybody's church, and there's somebody in there that make your hair stand up if you got some. I don't have any, but and musicians. Oh my God!
Can I interrupt you for one moment? Richard Gibbs is listening to this live.
Hey,
the one and only Richard Gibbs. I've been trying to get Richard, but Richard is in England and China. He's all over the world, and it's so hard to get to him. But one of these days, I'm gonna get him on the show. But I want to acknowledge him. Roosevelt Hamilton, thank you so much. Sabrina Neal, James Williams, and everyone that is listening. Denny Yancey, I appreciate you and love you. I want to thank you all for sharing with us tonight. Come on. Tell us about that difference here, because it's a little.
About Richard Gibbs, Richard Gibbs, everybody knows him as a keyboardist, organist, whatever. But Richard Gibbs plays bass too.
Yeah.
And I used to watch him all the time on Saturday Night Sing. He had that white, he played left-handed. And I'm like, man, he playing that bass. And I'm not sure if it was upside down. I'm not sure, but I was so impressed with that. Great musician. So honestly, I cannot say that I know a lot about the church music scene here because I'm not out and about like that. It's not even the same circle or camaraderie that I was used to in Chicago. In Chicago, churches fellowship with one another, and you're just around people, and it's just different. Here, I've not experienced that. I'm a member of a church called Koinonia Christian Church. Wonderful, wonderful church, great church, non-denominational church. Kind of a large church, not a super large church, but a large church. And so we don't do a lot of fellowshipping in the way that we did in Chicago at King of Glory. At King of Glory, a pastor go preach at the church, the choir goes. Another church comes, their choir comes, and you meet with people. I got familiar with True Holiness because our church is fellowship,
Okay.
And so that was the glue for me anyway in Chicago. Here, I have not experienced that. And I play with a bunch of wonderful guys at church now. And when I ask them questions, they don't have a lot of answers for me. You know, I live in Arlington, which is right in between Dallas and Fort Worth.
Okay.
And so it's a big space now. When we here in Chicago, we think it's all close together. It's not really, really close, but it's not really, really far. But growing up in Chicago, you had your South Side people and your West Side people. And back in the day, they didn't always mix. Later on, we all started mixing more. But back in the day, South Siders were South Siders and West Siders were West Siders. To me, that's kind of how Dallas and Fort Worth is.
Okay.
Dallas musicians, and they're Dallas and they're Fort Worth. I think now might be a little bit better, but from what I can see, you know, that's how it is. So I'm trying to get more into the Dallas scene.
Into the mix.
Right.
I get it. So I've got a song that I want to play. This is one of the ones that I like from back in the day. We're going to tune it up. It's called Magnify, I believe.
Okay. Yes,
I think my engineers got that ready to play. We're going to play just a little bit of it.
I want to clap your hands with us today. There's no one like you. Thank you, Jesus. Yeah. So we lift you high. Your name.
Hey, listen, you all got to check that whole song out. That's hot. It's that, I don't know, that's Sunday morning. That's that group. That's that choir sound. Listen, Darwin, I thank you for sharing with me today. You're welcome to hang on if you like. I just appreciate you. And I want to make sure that everybody is supported, especially when you are from the gospel music capital of the world. I know you're down there in Texas, but we want to support you here. We want to let you know that we love you and appreciate you. And again, let's support that single, Real Love. I would imagine it's going to be available on all the digital outlets in about a week. Am I correct?
That is correct, sir. And once again, thank you for having me on. And thank you. Now, before you did this, I didn't know Dr. Jackson. Dr. Henry Jackson. You got Jackson and Jackson here, right? But of course, I went online and I was looking at stuff. You have me on with a legend. This man is a legend. I've been Dr. Jackson, I've been reading about you, man. I listen to your music. I like your music. You've been around for a long time. And everybody in LA really has a lot of respect for you from what I'm reading. So I'm glad to be on the same program as you, sir.
God bless you.
Well, listen, you heard it right here with Ramon Perry, and according to your faith, I am listen, okay. My next guest, I really don't know how to I don't know how to bring him on. I don't know how I can really do this. I am just honored and privileged to have the one and only Dr. Henry Jackson, probably one of the most prolific songwriters of our time. I'm going to date myself and say I grew up off of your music. And again, Richard Gibbs is giving you some kudos, Dr. Jackson. I know you know him, and I know you know his mom. Say hello to our audience, please.
Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing?
Man, I'm honored. So let me just tell on myself a little bit. I didn't tell you this, Dr. Jackson. Of course, you and I have been corresponding a little bit over Facebook, but when you agreed to do my show, when I was talking to you, I probably was running around my house. I was like, I didn't want to tell you that, the hang up the phone on me. But I was like, Jesus, D. Henry Jackson, I got some of your albums in my house. Okay. Can you tell us just a little bit about your music background, where you're from, and how you got started? I want my audience to get the gist of who you are and the magnitude as best they can tonight.
Well, I was born in Shreveport, Louisiana, and I want to give a shout out to my Shreveport family because I got a big family. But I didn't grow up in Shreveport. I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area. So, and I got started playing piano probably when I was I started taking piano lessons at 8 years old. But I could already play by the time I started taking lessons because I was gifted. It was just a thing that I could sit down and play what I heard. And so I remember this old deacon told my mother, Sister Jackson, you better get that boy music lessons because he's going to play the piano one day. And she did. And so I started taking piano. I studied classical piano for 10 years. I had a private teacher for 8 years. And then I went to the San Francisco Music and Arts Institute for 2 years. But I wasn't really into the classical. I liked it, but I didn't want to make a career out of classical music. I fell in love with gospel at a very young age. And the piano player that most influenced me was Curtis Dublin, who played for the Davis Sisters. I don't know if you all even remember him.
I know who they are. I don't know them, but I know who they are.
That was the group that I learned everything from. I would listen to their records. No one ever taught me harmony. I would just listen to the records and I would realize that everybody was saying something different. So I tuned into that. And by the time I was 10 years old, I started playing for the choir at my church in San Francisco, and I was teaching parts at 10. Nobody ever taught me. I was teaching the choir at 10 years old. They used to call me Little Master Henry, and I loved it, man. I didn't sing, though. One of the things I did not do, and people don't realize it, I didn't start singing until I came to Los Angeles in my 20s. I never sang at home. Nobody ever heard me sing. And as a matter of fact, my group members used to make fun of my little voice. They would say, just stick to playing the piano. That little voice of yours, I said, okay, y'all gonna find out one day. So I just, when I came to Los Angeles, I was fortunate to meet a young man named Sherwood Sledge, who was managing the group called the Los Angeles All-Stars, a male group. And he asked me to join the group to sing, which was exciting to me. I thought, great. So I did, and that's when Harrison Johnson heard me with that group.
Okay.
And he approached me to come join the Los Angeles Community Choir.
The Los Angeles Community Choir, okay.
Yeah, and I never sang in a choir. I always played the piano, and directed, but Harrison asked me to sing with them, so I did. And I was in that choir for a year before he gave me a lead. And James Cleveland heard me with that choir. And he asked me to be a Cleveland singer. I don't know, I told you about that. A lot of people don't know I was a Cleveland singer for a short time. And I traveled with Reverend Cleveland, and he was a great influence on my life, a great influence.
Dr. Jackson, can I ask you what was the name of the song that you led with Reverend Cleveland?
Give Yourself to Jesus.
I want to know if I want to get that cranked up.
Written by Robert Fryson.
I want to hear that right now. This is the original before Aretha Franklin recorded it.
Yes.
If we can get that,
before Aretha.
If we can get that cranked up, that would be. I thought I sent that to I did send it to him. He just doesn't have it ready. But I'm gonna make sure we play it. Give Yourself to Jesus is probably still sung in many of the churches during Call to Discipleship, even today.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's a great song. I didn't know I was going to record it when Gene, who's in the group, he said, Reverend said, come to the studio. What? For what? We're going to record tonight. So I got there, and that's what he told me. I want you to sing this. And I learned it right there, and we recorded it.
Wow.
Just like you're saying, you come to the studio without rehearsal. We didn't rehearse. We just did it. Right there in the studio.
Right there. And So you just went to the studio and learned the song and recorded it on the spot.
Yep, exactly.
So can I just say something that I do miss based on what you just said, Dr. Jackson? Back then when I was growing up, and many of us remember, there was an authenticity that we got in gospel music before technology moved along and production came along. It was a raw authenticity that really touched the heart. It felt like, it literally felt like Sunday morning. It felt like somebody just hit play and record and put it on a record, and you felt what it was. Exactly. There were no pre-recorded hand claps. There was no everybody give a little worship and put it, and cut and it was genuine. It was just authentic. So when I first heard that version, I would have never known that you just learned it, but I still felt the realness behind it. Can you speak to that?
Well, I exactly know what you're talking about with singers, and I learned this from Cassetta George. I was with her for over 20 years as her accompanist. But she used to always tell me, if you love your people, they will love you back. So when you sing, you give yourself. And what's from the heart reaches the heart. And that song touched me when I was singing it. So I'm sure that it can touch others because I felt it. And if I couldn't feel it, you wouldn't be able to feel it.
Absolutely. So when did you... we've got something here. Let's see what we got.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Give yourself to Jesus. You don't have much time. Give yourself to the Master. Oh, he can make your life. You make your life so blind. Give yourself to Jesus. He's waiting. He's waiting. He's waiting just for you. You can put all your trust in him, because my God will take care of you.
Okay, that's classic gospel that is literally timeless. I that's all I can really say. I know churches today that still sing it.
It's a great song for ministry. And
you sang on that. That's incredible.
I loved it.
Can you tell us when you started your group? They were just
the Henry Jackson Company.
The Henry Jackson Company.
Yeah. We were all members of the Los Angeles Community Choir. And after I did the album with Harrison, the album that contained I Decided to Make Jesus My Choice, I had 6 songs that I had written on that album.
Wait a minute. You recorded on the album the original I Decided to Make Jesus My Choice?
Yes. I'm singing background on there.
Do you all hear that out here? This is literally a living legend, right? That's why I was running through my house when you said, "Oh yeah, Ramon, I'll be glad to do it." I was like, "Ah!"
Yeah, I'm on the original recording. DJ Rogers is the male. At the time when I joined the choir, DJ Rogers was the male lead. He was the number 1 lead. And it wasn't until after he left the choir that Harrison said, "All right, DJ's going now. You're going to have to sing Decided." I used to sing I Decided to Make Jesus My Choice with the choir. And when the Lord started dealing with me and giving me music, I went to Harrison with my first song. I think it was Help Us Master. I'm not really sure. And I told him, I said, Harrison, I have this little song. I want you to hear it and tell me what you think. And he liked it. He said, well, and I said, can I teach it to the choir? He said, yeah. And then, it went on. I came to him again. I said, I got another little song. Can I teach this? And eventually, I got several songs with the choir. I never knew I was going to write songs. I really didn't. It was, God just started dealing with me and giving me, it's amazing to me because some of the songs, anyway. Well, after we did that album, Satan always gets busy when you're doing something for the good. And as it turned out, I had to leave the choir. I left the choir. And I relocated back to my home in San Francisco. And Charles May, Brother Joe May's son, called me and said he was doing it out. That's him and his sisters and his family were doing the album the 4th of May. And he wanted the choir, LA Community Choir. But by this time, a lot of the members of the choir had left. And I told him, I said, well, that sound that you're looking for, it's not going to be there because right now they're going through a transition. So I gave him the name of some of the singers who were my friends in the choir, and they did the background. Well, when the producer heard them, he wanted them. They said, well, we're not a group. Henry just put us together to do this session. Now, I'm in San Francisco. They're in Los Angeles. So the promoter called me and says, can you come back to LA and put this group together? I got a contract for you.
Wow.
That was how the company got started.
That is amazing. Okay. We're gonna come back. We got to put a pin there. I gotta just take a little liberty here, and I want to just give a shout out to my radio sister Lavonja Hubbard, the one and only Duchess of Gospel. I love you, Lavonja, and Barbara Bacon, who supports me literally every week. Patsy Stroud, I'm so glad to see you. I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. But I want to take a little liberty here and talk about one of my favorite songs by you. Back in the day, I think I told you this, Cosmopolitan used to literally kill I've Been Changed. Oh my God. They sang that song like they sang it like they didn't have anything else to do but try to kill you. And most of us that are familiar with Cosmopolitan, when we just talk just a little bit more, you're gonna hear some songs that he wrote that really, really blessed them, and they decided to record them. I want my engineer just to play a little bit of I've Been Changed. That song works for me. It works for me. I love it. We couldn't get it all in because Facebook might cut us off, but my brother Carvel is out there. He said, that's it. Man, I'm just telling you, that song was a killer. It was literally a killer. I told my engineer, just play like 2 minutes. But when y'all got, you know what? I need to talk to you about that because I got a song that I want to use a little of that. And I'm going to have to work stuff out with you because I've Been Changed in the Book of Life. He signed my name. It's just a killer. Oh my God. Okay, I'm excited. My hands are sweating. You probably won't even.
That was our theme. That was our theme song. We open up with that every concert, every program.
Absolutely. Okay, so the next song I want to play is a song that here in Chicago and across this nation and across the sea, Reverend Dr. Charles D. Hayes made this song. It gave it another breath of life after you did it first. Because I remember, thank God for Reverend Milton Bronson, Reverend Hayes, and the late Bishop Willie James Campbell. They came on Saturdays and they fed us good music. We got ready for church on Saturday, listening to them all day long. And there wasn't a Saturday I can remember not hearing your name, Henry Jackson and Company, that either one or all three played your music. But this next song is called I'm Satisfied with Jesus. Let's play a little bit of that. Everybody knows this song. Written by Henry Jackson, recorded by Henry Jackson and Company.
I am satisfied with Jesus. For he has done so very much for me. He suffered to redeem to set me free. I'm satisfied. Oh, yes, I am.
Listen. Somebody just said he wrote that song too, Levante. Yes, he did. I'm telling you, we got. Listen, I'm honored and privileged, man. This is a living legend. I've got great talent, my brother down in Texas, Darwin Jackson, and Dr. Henry Jackson of LA, famous, legendary writer. I want to acknowledge Eric Maurice Clark, who is listening tonight. I thank you so much, Eric.
My good friend. He's my good friend.
That's my little brother doing this thing. And we got one more that we're going to talk about. But I want to ask you a question because I just want to just get a feel for this. So you traveled with the Henry Jackson Company. You all did tours, I would imagine, back in that day.
Yes, as a matter of fact.
What was it like? Tell us just a little bit about that.
Father Hayes was the first one to bring us to Chicago. And we came to Cosmopolitan. Oh, what a time we had at Cosmopolitan. And we went some other places, Detroit, Milwaukee, Arkansas. We were traveling around different places. Wherever they asked us to come.
Wait a minute. Somebody just said Baptist Fit, mother done fell out on her roll. You did all that, Henry.
Yes.
Okay, finish. I just wanted you to hear that. You're a blessing to people even today. Go ahead.
Well, I thank you for having me because this is doing me more good than you realize. Because sometimes, I get a little discouraged, because things don't go the way I think they should go. And then people like you reinforce in my spirit that your music is affecting people, and so It's that saying, may the work I've done speak for me. So it's always good when I get confirmation from people, like you're telling me how you've been blessed by the music that I've been putting out. So I thank God for you and for all of those who are loving the music of Henry Jackson, but it's God-given. I can't put myself in it.
Can I ask you this, Dr. Jackson? When did you know that your music had hit, or did it ever happen, or were you just doing what you was doing, or was there ever a moment where you just said, "Wow, this is really working"? I mean, I'm just asking.
Well, kind of, yes. When somebody came up to me on the street once and mentioned that they liked one of my songs, I don't remember the song now. Then I said, "Oh, it's affecting people like this." And some musicians, like this one girl who's a fantastic artist, she's, "How did you come up with that song, Send Your Power? How did you come up with that song? That's incredible. How did you?" I said, "It wasn't me. It was the God in me that came through that song." So I don't know that I just really thought about it. And then I hear people like you, and then like Eric tells me all the time, "You don't know you're a living legend." I said, "Okay." I just don't think of myself like that.
There's one more song, and we're going to talk about your new material and how we can secure that. And there's one more song that became very, very famous. And again, I heard it first, probably on Reverend Bronson's program back in the day, and it's called "Saved." Lavanja, I want you to hear this one. This is another composition, Roosevelt, Lavanja, Carvel by Henry Jackson. Denny,
I'm going to be singing that this Sunday. I'm going to sing it this Sunday at church.
Yeah, we go. Oh, you're going to sing it this Sunday? It's called "Saved." I want to see if you guys remember this. I think my engineer should have this cranked up. Another classic that Cosmopolitan recorded. They love them some Henry Jackson, believe me. Richard Gibbs said he loves this song. He said, "My mom had this album." His mom,
yes,
one
Inez
of the famous
Andrews.
Caravans.
Yes,
Inez
she was
Andrews.
my friend too.
That was your friend? Okay.
Oh, we spent hours on the phone. We would talk.
Hey, you know what, Darwin? We getting it here tonight, man. This is a blessing to have such a living legend to share with us on tonight. I gotta ask you something. What is your what would you say about how music has transitioned in the last decade or so? God bless you, Yolanda. We got Yolanda Johnson on here with us tonight. She's a member of Cosmopolitan, so she knows all these songs. Dr. Jackson, how can you speak to the transition that we've experienced in the last decade or so?
Okay. music is always going to change. Back when I was a kid, and the groups were like the Caravans and the Davis Sisters and Roberta Martin singers, that was a generation of gospel music. And then it changed, and people start saying, "Oh, that's too worldly," because they put more instrumentation to it. That's too worldly. And now we got another generation of young people who have a different concept of gospel. I'm open to the concept, but we have to keep it in the proper perspective. Not all gospel music is worship. Some is for praise, and some is for performance. Let's be real. So we just have to learn to accept the genre. It's different sections of it.
Absolutely.
I don't think that Stomp, Kirk Franklin's Stomp, is a wonderful song, but it's not Sunday morning. It's for performance.
Well, I might have agreed with you some time ago, but from what I've seen here lately, that might be okay now. In about 10 years, that might be considered traditional gospel
Listen,
music.
let me tell you, when I did my first album, I was considered contemporary.
I believe
was just so contemporary, because I had 26-piece orchestra on that album. It's considered traditional now. It's the same music, the same songs, but it's considered traditional. But it was considered contemporary when I did it.
Darwin Jackson said earlier, when he started playing the sax, that would have been considered going a little bit too early for the church. Am I right, Darwin?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yeah. So then the transition, of course, with gospel music, actually from the 60s to early 70s, by the time Edwin came along and brought all the instrumentation, the church was about to have a fit. And now that's considered just traditional gospel music. Yes. They were all up in arms over nothing, right? I'm going to tell it.
It's all God's music. People call it worldly, but, God inspires all the music.
And we thank God that the Bible says how to reach the masses. And sometimes some songs are not meant to be contained in the church building, but it's still a message of Jesus Christ. I mean, who knew? I saw an interview with Edwin. He said he didn't know that "Oh Happy Day," that rendition, was going to cross over. And then, of course, here comes the Clarks with "You Brought the Sunshine." That crossed over. Here comes Tremaine, "Fall Down." That crossed over. Darius Brooks, "Your Will." That crossed. Things just keep crossing up, and now it's okay. And I'm glad that those barriers have been taken away from us. Can you share with us something about your new music?
Well, I'm in a different frame of mind now as far as my singing, and so I'm not a lot of the high stuff that I used to do. I'm not going up there no more like that. That's like Yvette Blunder said that, sometimes we have to drop the keys as we get older. So I'm not up there like that, but I'm trying a new sound, if you will. Like I did "Precious Lord, Take My Hand," but I gave it what I call a fresh new approach. And on the end, it's almost like a singing rap, which is, it was inspired. It wasn't planned. When we cut this thing in the studio, the musicians got so anointed. We was finished, but they kept playing. So I just said, well, let them play. And and Ricky Grundy, who, bless his heart, he's gone, rest in peace, but he was my keyboard player. And he just was carrying on. And when I heard it, I said, well, we can't just throw this music away. So I wrote some words to put to it. And it turned out what the producer called it a singing rap. And that's it's a different type of Precious Lord, really.
I'm gonna make sure my engineer has that.
Or Good to Me, the title cut off my new CD is Good to Me, and it's kind of it's a personal testimony, but it ain't. I don't know. You'd have to listen to it and
Well,
you tell me.
we're gonna play it in a moment. I'm waiting on him. Everything. So I'm in one place. My engineer's in another place,
Okay.
and so I did send him everything, and we're just trying to get some things queued up. But in the meantime, while he's doing that, I've got a question for you, and I asked Darwin Jackson earlier. When you compose, how does it come to you? Do you get the lyrics first? Do you get the music first? Or is it different every time? This is for those that might be interested in writing, to get some clarity on how it's okay for how it comes to you. Can you share with us?
It comes both ways. Sometimes I get a tune in my head and it just stays with me, and then I will build on that. And then I decide I have to get some words. Other times, the words come and the message, like for instance, I was at Christ Memorial one night, Andre Crouch's dad's church years ago. And they had a sign on the wall that says, "With Christ it can be done." And that stuck with me. And I wrote a song called "With Christ It Can Be Done" because I was inspired by that saying. There's a song I wrote called "Send Your Power." And I take a lot of influence from R&B. I should be very honest with this. I like R&B. And I don't know if you ever remember a song "Hot Fun in the Summertime." It was Sly and the Family Stone, I think. And I love the lick from that. So that's all through that song, "Send Your Powers," the hot fun in the summertime. So, it just depends.
So it's different every time.
Yeah, I was reading the scripture one time, St. John 14:6. I was laying in bed reading. And that's a scripture where Jesus said unto him, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes unto the Father but by me." And that kind of stuck with me. And God started giving me a melody. And that's one of my songs. I call it my hymn. I'm trying to get it in the hymn book, the National Baptist Hymn Book. It's called "Only Jesus, Him Alone."
Oh my God. So you wrote that too. You know what? I
Yes.
think I knew that. There is no way unto the Father.
Yeah, that's my song.
In B flat. Yes. Only, yeah. Okay, man. Wow. How much I owe. That's really all I can say, man. I'm just like that was the lick too. And when I say that, I say that with passion. That's musician talk. That's a good thing. Let me say it that way. Only Jesus. Let me ask you another question before we go to some of your new music. I want to know: do you feel a different vibe in the West Coast when it comes to church than when you come to the Midwest?
Oh, absolutely. There is a difference. I mean, I love coming to Chicago and in that area because it's churchy. People, y'all church back in Chicago, but they don't do that here.
They don't do that here.
No, they don't do that here. Everybody's so separated. Like I think I heard Darwin say that, the churches used to fellowship, and they ain't doing that here. And singers are sort of closed off. I love Chicago.
I would say that the Midwest does have its own flavor. We've got Precious Lord ready. You want to go ahead and introduce your new arrangement of Precious Lord, and we'll go ahead and play it, Dr. Jackson.
Well, here's something different, and it's the same song, the same message, but I just kind of gave it a different flavor. Precious Lord, Take My Hand, the Thomas Dorsey classic.
Lord, take my hand, lead me on, let me stand. I am tired, I am weak, I am worn. Through the storm, through the night,
life. Take my hand, precious Lord, and lead me on. When my way grows dreary, precious Lord, I need you to linger near. When my life is almost gone, hear my cry, hear my call. Hold my hand, Lord, let's not fall. Take my hand, precious Lord, and lead me on. I need you to lead me on. I need you to lead me on. Take my hand, oh, precious Lord, and lead me on.
You heard it right here with Ramon Perry, and
Yeah,
according to your faith.
that's the long version. There's an
That's the long
instrumental
version.
in there that comes right there. And then I got a radio edit. There's two versions of that. There's a radio edit for the Jackson need to play it, you know. And we took out there was a really long instrumental in there. Again, the musicians got off in the studio on this, so we just tried to keep as much as we could. But you know how it is for radio, you can't have it. You have to, so we condensed it. But
absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the other song, Good to Me. Can you share with us what was the catalyst for you writing that song? And then we're going to have you introduce it and we're going to play it.
Well, it's a testimony because the first line says, every time I wake before I start my day, I said, thank you. And that's what I do every morning. When I put my feet on the floor, I said, thank you, Lord, for letting me see another day. Because he didn't have to do it. But that's another song, too. That I wrote.
That's another song. He didn't have to do it.
Yeah. So that's how that song came about. And I just said, God, you've been good to me, And it just came. The words just came, and the music just came. And sometimes, man, I'm like, I'm the third person. I feel like I'm out of body, and I'm experiencing this, but it's not me. I watch sometimes when I'm at the piano, and my hands are playing, but I'm not in control.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Spirit of the Lord that just is directing me. So that's what he did on this song.
And what's the name of it again?
Good to Me.
Okay, you heard it right here with Ramon Perry. Good to Me.
Yeah, title cut of the CD.
Professor Dr. Henry Jackson.
That's the wrong one.
That's the wrong. Wait, hold on.
That's the wrong one.
Wait a minute. We got to get the right one.
Yeah.
Hold on. It's called Good to Me. It's on the email that we sent out. He sent it with an email. Yeah, it should be on the same email with Precious Lord. We're gonna get it. We're gonna get it right.
Yeah.
Because I want everybody to support it. And I want now. How can we get the music? Is it available now, Dr. Jackson?
It's available on all media digital outlets. You get it everywhere.
Okay. It's on all digital outlets.
Yep.
Okay, so that's like
maybe Amazon, everywhere.
Okay. He's getting it together now. I don't know how he could have gotten Precious Lord and didn't get this. I think that was on the same email that you sent. we're going to be talking with our engineer when we get off today.
I didn't, that Precious Lord that you played, I didn't send you that
Hold
one.
up. See, I was trying not to come on here and say nothing. Ramon Perry sending me every last one of the songs except for those two. I actually found Precious Lord myself, and now I have found Good to Me. Don't be trying to put me on blast on my first night back on your show, Ramon Perry. Give me 1 minute, Dr. Jackson. I got to give me
He's one of the owners of the station, Pastor Marcus Walls, very good friend of mine. He's been my engineer for some time. I think I've been doing this about 4 years, going on 5, and we've been working together. And he hasn't been working with me in the last couple of months. He's been doing some other things, but I'm glad to have him back tonight. And we're just working out a few of the kinks. But again, I was equally excited I did listen to Good to Me. I was like, I like that. And I like the transitions, and I like the fact that you brought this current style of music to this day. While I appreciate the old, I can definitely appreciate the transition into the new. The same with Darwin Jackson. I like his old music, and I definitely like the new music too. We ready to go with it. He said, let's go with it now.
Okay.
Every time I wait before I start my day, I say thank you, Lord, knowing it was not because I've been so good that you spared me, Lord. Oh, you're good to me. You're so good to me, Father. You're good to me. You're so good to me. So good to me. You have always kept me. You have never left me. You're always there. You're always there. Picking up the pieces of my broken heart. Lord, I know you care. Oh, you're good to me. Good to me. You're so good to me, Father. You're good to me. Good to me. You're so good to me. So good to me. I don't know how I could have made it if I did not have your love to guide me. How can I ever repay you? All I can do is lift my hands to you and say thank you. Oh, I thank you, Lord. I just want to say thank you. Thank you, Lord. Oh yeah. Thank you,
Listen, Darwin Jackson, do you hear this?
I hear it.
I
Sounds
like that.
great. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Dr. Jackson, is that you on piano on that song?
No, that's Tracy Carter.
Okay. All right. 'Cause I know you play also.
Yeah, I played on most of my group's album. I played on, but I got lazy, and as I get older, I get lazy. I just play very little now. I usually try to get the best musicians I can find.
Oh man, well listen, you got it translated right out of your head onto the keyboard.
Yes.
That's hot right there. I felt a lot there, you know. I said I can hear that at the skating rink too on gospel night.
Yes. I wanted to be, you know,
right,
kind of easy listening music that people can listen to and enjoy, you know,
absolutely,
and relate to.
Absolutely. Well, before we wrap everything up, I'm sincerely grateful for those that have stayed with me. I understand Evangelist Lemmy Battles. We came on with her song after this evening in honor of Black History. Lemmy, I'm going to come on with your song the rest of the month. We're going off with another friend of mine to one of his selections. The single that he has out in honor of Black History Month as well. But I want to thank Bishop Mike Easton, Roosevelt, again, Eric, Richard. You guys stayed with me tonight. I really appreciate it. And of course, I definitely want to thank Darwin Jackson, who came and shared with us tonight. Darwin, again, we want to make sure we support you. We can look for your single to drop maybe next weekend.
Yes, sir. Real Love. Yes, sir.
Real Love by Darwin Jackson. Let's support. Don't just listen to it on YouTube. Let's download it. If it's on Apple Music, download it. Let's support our own. Let's support these artists. They put so much into their music and into their gift. Richard Gibbs said, yes, sir. Richard stuck with me tonight. I got to get Richard on here. I'm going to get him to one day before the year's out. But Darwin Jackson, thank you so much. And Dr. Henry Jackson, again, I am doubly honored that you took some time out to come and share with us this evening to just give us a little bit of the history of your music. When you said Only Jesus, I'm like, oh, I forgot about that one. Oh, man, there is no way. And then, of course, he didn't have to do it. Just a little background on that one. I went to college in 82, and a young lady from here went to Kentucky State with me. Her name is Ella Poe. We went, I sang in the gospel choir, and we sang that song. We went to Paducah, Kentucky or somewhere. And when I tell you, she kicked that song, she beat that church down to the ground. I'm so glad he did. You all go back and listen to those that remembered. He didn't have to do it by Henry Jackson.
Mississippi Mass got that out too.
What was that?
Mississippi Mass recorded. He didn't have to do it.
I didn't. Now that I didn't know.
Just in a few years back, they just did it.
I'll be glad to hear that. But let's support Dr. Henry Jackson with Good to Me and Precious Lord. Don't just listen to it on YouTube. Go and download it. It's on all digital outlets. And again, we want to support Darwin Jackson down in Texas. Regina Martin, I'm praying for you. I believe that you're already healed. We're just waiting on your body to catch up. And I want to thank the owners of WVTC for allowing me to sit behind the sacred desk tonight and share with you. We're going to come back next week. We got a great show, and we want you to meet us next week, this same time, same station, WVTC, where we're winning victory through Christ with Ramon Perry and According to Your Faith. Again, thanking Darwin Jackson and Dr. the one and only Dr. Henry Jackson of Los Angeles, California. Thank you. I love you. There's nothing you can do about it. And we're going to sign off this evening in honor of Black History Month. We're great people. God has anointed our people, and he's given us some precious gifts. Let's use them, and let's respect the gifts, and let's support everybody. God bless you.
Take care. Sending love to everyone.
Likewise.
For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, saith the Lord. Thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end. My brother, my sister, may I remind you, God's hand is on your life. God's hand is on your life. You were born, you were created, you had a purpose, God had a plan. You've been bought, you've been redeemed. You've been purchased through the blood of Jesus Christ. You are part of a royal priesthood. I know sometimes in life you may feel, God, where are you? I don't hear you. God, I don't see you. Are you there? But let me remind you, he was there all along. Only the hand of God could block the suicide assignment the devil tried to put on your life. Only the hand of God could heal your body when the doctors told you this was it. And 3 years later, you told the story. God is a healer. Only the hand of God could provide for you and your children in an unexpected pandemic. As the preacher would say in church, can I get a witness? Just one witness? Only the hand of God could qualify you for a job that you know you don't qualify for. It doesn't